National Innovation Strategy. The Nation Station Oman FM with the cooperation of the Research Council presents Innovation Roadmap, an introduction to National Innovation Strategy from the Research Council.
Hello and welcome to Innovation Roadmap. Today we're meeting up with engineer Faisal Hamid Al-Shekaili. He's the manager of technical standards and numbering at the Telecommunications Regulatory Authority, TRA. Welcome to the program. And of course, TRA plays a very important role in everything we think of when we use technology. Telecommunications. Would you please brief us about the role of the Telecommunications Regulatory Authority?
Yes, TRA is the national authority that regulates both telecommunications and postal sectors. We do that by translating the government set policies and direction for both sectors. We translate that into regulations, rules and guidelines to ensure also their implementation and compliance. The principal goal is to enable competitive and sustainable supply of services, safeguard the interests of users, whether they are individuals, government or businesses. So that's in brief.
Yes, I can understand that when we think of innovation today, we need a lot of technology and it will always come back to TRA. However, I would like to ask you to describe TRA's role in the national innovation ecology as an enabler.
TRA considers that regulatory readiness in terms of rules and guidelines to accommodate technological advancement as an essential pillar for the innovation adoption on time. Any barriers to entry for new technologies or innovations are being identified by the TRA, and any possible and required changes to the current rules or regulations are being done in a transparent and consultative process with the different stakeholders. So we don't want to see any regulations that will stop new technologies or innovations coming to the market.
Because it keeps evolving.
Yes, it will keep evolving. And also most of these services now, they are coming across different sectors. It's not about only telecommunications and postal sectors. It will involve, for example, financial services sometimes.
Yes.
It will involve cars, self-driving cars, for example. So these sectors are being
already looked into?
Yeah, they are connected all together. So.
Okay. And so you are already expecting all this to happen, of course.
Yes, because we're already talking about Internet of Things, big data, machine to machine, artificial intelligence. So all of that is coming.
That was
and we
exactly
have to be prepared for it.
My next question. According to you, how ready is the Sultanate for the fourth industrial revolution in terms of digital readiness?
TRA continues to encourage the service providers and the licensees in the Sultanate to develop and offer services to consumers based on their demand and easiness to do their individual transactions. Cross-sector consultations and engagement are enabled to achieve this challenging role. So it cannot be done only by the telecom regulator, but regulators of different sectors are collaborating all together to make this happen.
The vision of the National Innovation Strategy of the Sultanate is that Oman to be in the top 40 on the Global Innovation Index, GII, by 2020 and be in the top 20 by 2040. What could be TRA's contribution to us achieving this target?
Okay. TRA continues to facilitate the creation of the ecosystem that will help foster innovation, while also collaborating with the industry and academia to fund some research initiatives and innovative projects. So always we are in touch with the academic institutions here in Oman to fund some of the innovation or projects in the Sultanate.
So there are already projects that are happening?
Yes, we are already collaborating with, for example, Sultan Qaboos University. Sometimes they are proposing some R&D projects to be funded by the TRA, and that's been done. And sometimes we assign certain projects of interest to the TRA to Sultan Qaboos University to be conducted by them.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
And are there some completed projects already, or are they under research?
Yes, there are.
Some projects that...
Yes, we've been doing that for the last 3 years, and we continue to do that. We're committed to that.
On the latest Global Innovation Index report, Oman is ranked 67 in terms of government's online services and 74 on the e-participation indicator. What are the initiatives taken by TRA to boost performance on these particular indicators? Often we think, is e-commerce really going to happen?
TRA aims to achieve the regulatory environment that will increase competition in the provision of the telecom services. We focus to improve four perspectives of any service, which is the quality, price, and coverage and choice, which will result in more usage and adoption of services by the citizens and residents in the Sultanate. So that index, it's composed of many indicators, and one of them is the usage of the telecom services. So we aim to increase the penetration rate of fixed and mobile broadband services in the Sultanate.
And how does TRA encourage innovation?
Ensuring proper environment for competition and, as I said, adoption of international standards and industry trends in the regulatory cycle, as well as constant engagement with the stakeholder, is the main source of encouragement of innovation. So there are three things that we need to achieve to encourage innovation. We need more competition in the provision of the telecom services.
You feel so?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the only way for the service providers is to differentiate themselves by innovative services in the market. We also collaborate with the academia, as I said, to fund some of the R&D or innovations projects in the Sultanate. And also any regulatory changes needed, we aim to do it on time, so there is no unnecessary delay in introducing new technologies and innovations in the Sultanate.
Especially with Internet of Things?
Yes.
It is meant to happen anytime?
Yes, especially we are expecting 5G to be adopted in the coming 2 years.
5G?
Yes.
So service providers are already, I'm sure,
yes,
ahead
of course,
of it, thinking about it.
We already had one trial on 5G, and we are waiting also for the upcoming World Radio Conference, where the spectrum for the 5G will be decided.
Okay.
And I think from next year, many operators will be having their commercial 5G networks.
Really? By next year, 2019?
2000 starting.
Okay.
So that's globally.
Okay.
So maybe it will. Some of them will be doing it in 2019. Some of them will be doing it in 2020.
Okay.
So that's the expectation.
What are the changes would we be seeing once the 5G is in place, in terms of our lifestyle or way of handling business?
As I said, the new upcoming technologies and innovations will span across different sectors. So what we need to ensure is different sectors are collaborating to make all these use cases happen in the Sultanate. So 5G is the infrastructure only.
Then it's up to the innovators.
Yes.
To think far ahead.
To introduce more services like e-health, e-education, self-driving cars, artificial intelligence, and so on. So the infrastructure will be there, but the use cases will require most of the regulators to collaborate together to make it happen. So there is no regulatory barrier for their introduction in the Sultanate. Actually,
Engineer Faisal or Shekaili, that's something that we would actually like to think out loud. To have the infrastructure, to have the facility, are we doing enough? Should we be doing more as innovators?
So that question is mostly regarding the competition. TRA since 2003 aimed to introduce more competition in the market. Currently we have two integrated fixed and mobile operators, Omantel and Ooredoo. We also in the recent years, Awasr also joined in the fixed market. Currently also we have 5 international gateway operators, including Omantel and Ooredoo. TRA is keen to see a third mobile operator in the market, and also we are looking to have more internet service providers to increase the penetration rate of fixed line broadband in the Sultanate.
Okay, very interesting. And we'll take a short break. You're listening to Innovation Roadmap, a program brought to you by the Research Council with Radio Sultanate of Oman.
More than 70 Omani experts and specialists representing various governmental, private, academic and civil institutions have been actively involved in the development of a national innovation strategy project, which was approved by the Cabinet in 2016. You are listening to the National Innovation Strategy.
You're listening to the Innovation Roadmap. You are with our guest, Engineer Faisal Hamid Al-Shekaili, Manager of Technical Standards and Numbering at the Telecommunications Regulatory Authority. When we say numbering, could you tell us more about it?
Yes, the numbering is part of the National Numbering Plan. The TRA is responsible to manage the National Numbering Plan, which is any numbers that you think of in the telecommunication networks, starting from mobile numbers, from fixed numbers, starting with 24, 22, and 23, SMS short codes like 1234, and so on. All these numbers we are managing at the TRA. We need to make sure that these numbers will be sufficient for the next 25 years without any changes to them, because changing the numbering plan is a burden on everybody, on the operators and on individuals to change all their contact numbers. So all these numbers are being administered and managed by the TRA to ensure they are efficient and enough numbers for any services that need to be introduced in the market.
Very interesting. Now, going back to our questions, of course, research and development, you've given us a brief idea about how you actually collaborate with Sultan Qaboos University.
Yes.
Funding, or if there is any particular area that, you would like to know more about, then you actually give more for research.
Yes.
If there is an area, what are the areas you'd like to do more research on from TRA's perspective?
We engage with the Sultan Qaboos University. For example, in the this year we are proposing a project regarding DNS security to be conducted by Sultan Qaboos University. Also, the beginning of this year, we finalized a project on electromagnetic field radiation. And
that is human interest, I suppose, for safety of the society.
Yes, we have done that project, and we involve some of the students, so they are aware of these measurement methodologies in the Sultanate. So, and also new ideas can be given by the students.
And when will this be completed?
The EMF project?
Electromagnetic.
Electromagnetic is already completed, and we are waiting to publish the results and make more awareness within the society on the results that have been.
We're looking forward to that. I think that will be something of high, definitely important to all of us. The spectrum continues to be on focus, and can you tell us about the current status?
Yes, TRA aims to ensure sufficient availability of the spectrum for the service providers, so they have the latest technologies in the Sultanate. This already has been done for networks of 2G, 3G and 4G. TRA is preparing for the upcoming World Radio Conference in 2019, so to harmonize with its regional peers, the countries, to have sufficient available spectrum for the adoption of 5G.
Okay. So how does TRA ensure that optimal use of frequency spectrum is being practiced? Are we using it at the optimum level?
TRA looks carefully at the amount of spectrum that are given to each licensee and the associated terms and conditions. When we talk about the terms and conditions, the price and the rollout obligation. So the price of the spectrum should reflect its business value and is not being overpriced nor it's underpriced. So we have a balance, so the service provider has to and is able to utilize the spectrum without any delay in introducing new technologies to the market. So what we are looking at when we allocate spectrum is efficiency of deployment and affordability.
And when we talk about affordability, is it okay so far?
So far, whatever spectrum we allocate is being utilized by the licensees. We have 2G, 3G, 4G in the market.
So and then would there be more?
You mean
to add more to for the 5G?
For the 5G, as I said, we are waiting for the World Radio Conference. So the world is conclude what spectrum will be made available for 5G. So once that's decided, we will make sure on these spectrum bands that have been allocated for 5G to be allocated to our licensees here, so they are able to introduce that new technologies to the market.
Okay. And then you said that there could be more players in the industry.
Yes, we are keen to see the third mobile operator in the near future, and already that's spectrum already being reserved.
Allocated. Okay, reserved.
Reserved for the third mobile operator.
Can you tell us or explain to us the use of telecommunication services with the aim of encouraging tangible and non-tangible exports.
The ICT services in general enable small and medium enterprises, large corporates, and even home businesses to have access to the global markets, where they are able to market their products, services, and even their skills. So ICT is the core enabler for improving ease of business, and therefore we should achieve a reliable and affordable ICT services to boost the exports of the services.
Okay. And do you expect to see more innovation in this area? Do you think the public should be more innovative? Well, there's infrastructure. Could they be more innovative to utilize?
Already there are many businesses, home businesses, even utilizing the recent ideas of Facebook and Instagram to market their products and services. And also TRA is collaborating with the ministry to finalize the strategy on e-commerce.
That's what I want to know, yes.
Yes.
So there will be something that will be streamlined very soon?
Yes.
Okay, because that is one whole area of business, which is very successful for home business, by the way. From what we see, people seem to be doing very well. More, I suppose, is where we need the payment, which is still... Would TRA have a role in that? Payment online?
Whatever part is required from the TRA will be done, but the payment is not it's not a project that's been done by the TRA. It's the Central Bank of Oman, so the payment gateway. It's a project under the supervision of Central Bank of Oman. So anything needed from the telecom infrastructure perspective is taken care by the TRA.
Now, do we have enough competition between telecommunication service providers? You're already hoping for the third service provider, but seriously, from your perspective, do you think there's enough competition?
As I said, I already talked about the players in the telecom market here in Oman. We have two fixed and mobile integrated operators, which is Omantel and Ooredoo. We have Awasr and another 5 international gateway operators. But we are keen to see the third mobile operator, and also we need to see more internet service providers to increase the penetration rate or the adoption of the fixed broadband service in Oman, and that's something we need to work on and increase competition in that market.
Are there steps taken to regulate unfair competition and monopoly?
Yes, of course. There are many regulatory tools. So when I say regulatory tools, it's a law or regulations. Yes. And the main one is the competition framework. Competition framework defines the market or the services, and also will define any dominance in any of these markets, and will dictate the remedies associated with each one of them. We also have the access and interconnection regulation, which detail the way these remedies will be implemented. And TRA aims to gradually move from ex-ante regime to ex-post, making sure that consumers are protected.
Okay, so the consumers are always in mind.
Yes.
Should there be more service providers to encourage innovation?
As I said...
the third one you're looking at?
Yes, the more the number of service providers. So there's a general expectation would be that there will be a need for more innovation for the purpose of differentiation and introducing new services in the market. So the more players you have, they need to differentiate themselves and to have more innovative services in the market so they can have more market share.
I guess in terms of services to be more innovative.
Yeah.
And is there more space in radio spectrum?
As I said, the amount of spectrum for different technologies is part of the exercise under the International Telecommunication Union World Radio Conference. So the bandwidth that's being currently made available for our licensees is more than what's made available to other operators in other countries.
Okay.
Yes, for the 2G and 3G and 4G.
Okay. And when it comes to domain names, what is the level of demand TRA is seeing? And could this be used in a more innovative way by organizations?
TRA actively promotes the use of .om and Nuqta Oman domain names for the Omani domain name users. So a combination of promotion of IPv6 and .om domain names is expected to further the adoption by traditional businesses and an enabler for new businesses as well. So the level of adoption of .om domain names is not up to the expectation, and we need to increase that.
What should we be done, according to you, to increase the awareness?
As I said, we are promoting IPv6 and .om domain names, so more businesses will adopt and have their own websites based on .om and .oman websites.
Do you think people are still hesitant to try out something on the web and something that is local compared to that which is already established internationally? Is that what is the challenge?
I think what we need here in Oman more small and medium enterprises that work on web development, for example.
Yes.
And also we should keep in mind that there are other competing technologies with the traditional websites as well.
Yes.
We have now some of the home businesses will not create a website to market their services, but they'll use Instagram or Facebook.
They skip that whole process, yes.
So, but still that any business in Oman, like large one, will need a website. So they have to have electronic existence.
Is it expensive to have a website of your own in Oman?
No, registering a website in Oman, I think it's slightly around 30 riyals. It's not something expensive. But as I said, maybe we need in the market more web developers.
The tool providers, yes. Okay, so that's an area. It is innovation, end of the day.
Yes.
But that's something that seems there is a vacuum and the SMEs could develop it easily.
Yes.
And as we wrap up, Engineer Faisal Shekaili, what would you like to say to innovators? Now, you've given some brilliant ideas here for developers, web developers, and to promote it in such a way that almost everyone, in fact, the world business leaders say, without a website, you don't have a business now. So what would you like to say as a message to the potential innovators?
We are always there. We hope to see more businesses bringing more innovative ideas and within the telecommunication sector. And TRA will continue to see if there are any regulatory barrier for them to introduce these new ideas in the market. We'll try to resolve it, and it changes to the regulations. We'll have to consultate different stakeholders. So we have these technologies on time within this plan.
And we're looking forward to 5G next.
Yes.
And a third player when it comes to telecommunication service providers. Thank you so much for being our guest, Engineer Faisal Hamid Al-Shekaili, Manager of Technical Standards and Numbering at the Telecommunications Regulatory Authority, TRA. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You've been listening to Innovation Roadmap. I'm Lakshmi Karthanath with Ahmed Al-Arimi. And thank you for joining us and wish you a great day. And we'll join you back once again next week. Until then, take care.
National Innovation Strategy. The nation station Oman FM with the cooperation of the Research Council presents Innovation Roadmap, an introduction to National Innovation Strategy from the Research Council.